nutshell, the first house, obviously, it's the first house. So we call it I am. That's the house of me, I. That is owned by the sign of Aries, and Aries rules the head, and the first house rules the body. So that's like a check-in, generally speaking, for anyone that walks in the door now. How am I traveling? How do I feel in my body? Second house, Taurus, rules securities, insecurities, resources, your ability to bring in money, as I was suggesting before, in a nutshell. Third house, ruled by Gemini. Gemini rules communication, teaching, immediate environment, and early education. And I'll just say again, folks, keep in mind polarity, because you'll see when we get to the other side, the opposite houses, right? So we've got me or I, my securities, my thinking, my communication, my state of mind, that's Gemini. Then we move on to the fourth house, that's the sign of Cancer. Very watery. Cancer is ruled by the beautiful moon. So this is the house of the family, the home, feelings, emotions, and the past. Cancer is very, very involved in things gone by, what was, and nostalgia. The fifth house, that is the house of Leo. And if I remember correctly, our host today is a Leo, ruled by the golden sun.
Yes.
So a beautiful house. Leo rules the ego, creativity, and risks and gambles, as we used to call it in psych astrology. So that means it's the house of risks. And what is the biggest risk in life? Well, romance, children, and creativity. So they're all intertwined, because it is a risk. You create something, and then the risk is, well, if I want to go and share it with the world, I wonder how they'll take it. Yes. They'll either accept it or they won't. So it's a really beautiful house, but I like to look at the fifth house is, how do I shine? Right? Because it's ruled by the sun. How do I shine at the moment? So you can imagine if a client pulls a card and it's very dark, they're just not feeling all that great about themselves. Then I'd go to the second house, insecure. Oh, okay. So it's like their little candle is burning, very, very low at the moment. So we know that we need perhaps some counseling, some healing to, help them along. But all in all, creativity is the fifth. The sixth house is the house of service, health, daily routine. So it's my day-to-day dealings. So out of that, we can bring in colleagues or staff if you have a business of your own. So that's the first 6 houses. Then we move on to the 7th house. The first 6 houses we call the private houses because they sit below the horizon. If you can imagine, folks, you've got a circle and you just divide it. There's the upper sector and the lower sector. So houses 1 through 6 are the personal, below the surface houses. Then we pop up over the horizon to the 7th house, and that's the first time in the chronological order of astrological houses that you realize, oh, hang on, there are other people in the world other than me, because the first 6 houses are personal. So 7th house is partnership, you and me. So the 7th house is opposite the first. The first house is I, the 7th house is them, or you and me. So that's the house of Libra. Makes sense, right? The scales. So then we get to the 8th house. That would be me, the Scorpio. The hardest sign to explain in a nutshell. Scorpio is a very deep, mystical, mysterious sign. Scorpio rules everything, or Scorpio 8th house rules the unseen, psychology, all things hidden, mysterious magic, I just said that, but also areas like inheritance, legacy, taxes, and shared resources. The 8th house is opposite the 2nd. So the 2nd is my money, the 8th house is shared resources, right? So your wage comes from the 8th house, from the boss down to the 2nd house into your bank account. Then we move on to the 9th house. So the 3rd house is education, the 9th house is higher education. The 3rd house is early learning, the 9th house is philosophy, religion, anything that is greater than. Sagittarius rules this house. It's long distance travel. Gemini is short distance travel. So when you're searching for whatever it is you're searching in life, that's Sagittarius. When you're feeling very philosophical about life, that's Sagittarius. one of my favorite areas of the chart. So when people put a card on that house, they might be asking about higher ed, but I always think to myself, what is their unconscious philosophy of life? And again, you might get a tricky card. So they say, I'm good, I'm fine. But their unconscious philosophy is a little bit, jagged at the moment. So then we move on to the 10th house, which is the public sector. The 10th house is opposite the 4th. The 4th is home, private. The 10th is public. So that is the area of career, reputation, status, success. Everything that is outside your front door. That's the 10th house. 11th house is the house of... 10th house is Capricorn, by the way, if you're interested in the sun signs. And the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, and that is the house of ideals, your hopes and wishes for the future, but also areas like groups, associations, and community. And then we move on finally to the 12th house, which is the house of Pisces, another mysterious house because Pisces rules the unconscious mind. And back in classic astrology or classical astrology, it was known as secret enemies. So, all those kind of underhanded things, because Pisces is an amazing sign. Pisces tends to dissolve things. So it's like the boundaries are down. And that is why areas of life like magic in a sense, but dreams, also a little bit of psychology. Officially it's Scorpio, but anything to do with dreams, art, artistry. If you think about it, art has no boundary. You don't hit a wall. You may as an artist because you're fatigued, but you can just take art as far as you wish. Dreams, well, you know what dreams are like. They can be as crazy as. And so that is, again, Saturn saying no boundaries, no boundaries. So there's that sense of cosmos and that sense of returning home. We're all little star beings, if you like, that have come from the heavens above, whatever way you want to look at it. And Pisces is the area that rules that kind of thing. It's almost surreal. You can't put Pisces into words. It's as if there are no words for Pisces. And Pisces is opposite Virgo, the 6th house. And Virgo is a very detailed sign. That was, as I said, it's the day-to-day dealings. Pisces says, what's day-to-day dealings mean? So Pisces is very etheric. It's floaty, dreamy, lazy. It can be. But that secret enemies is Pisces and open enemies is Libra, right? Because that's the me and you that I see. Pisces is spirit and essence and everything I don't see. Sorry, that was the speeded up version for me, folks.
Yeah, no.
And that was long.